All right, well, hello and welcome to 7-1 ratio and proportion. Just a quick reminder that a ratio is a quotient of two numbers. It can be written as A over B or A colon B. That's pronounced A to B. When you're simplifying ratios, we want to think about putting them into the same units. So if we look at our units for A, we have centimeters on the top and meters on the bottom. We are going to put them into centimeters, and there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So the 12 centimeters stays the same on the top. We're going to replace 4 meters with 400 centimeters. So it's going to be 12 centimeters to 400 centimeters. So then we reduce the ratios. When we reduce, our centimeters cancel out because now we're in the same units, and we divide both the top by 4 and the bottom by 4, and we see that our ratio is 3 to 100 or 3 to 100. The second one, we have feet and inches, and just to remember, there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So if I have 6 feet, to get that into inches, we're going to multiply the 6 by 12, and we see that 72 inches. The 18 inches from the denominator stays. Now that we're in the same units, we can put together a ratio. We know that 9 goes into 72 and 18. 9 goes into 72 8 times, and 9 goes into 18 twice. That also reduces down one more time to 4 to 1. Or you can write that as 4 to 1. Lastly but not leastly, we have 1,000 meters and 2 kilometers. I can tell you that there are, 100 meters and 2 kilometers. There are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So we're going to change the 2 kilometers. We're going to multiply 2 by 1,000. So we have 100 meters on the top, and we'll get 2,000 meters on the bottom. Now that we have the same units, we can apply the proper ratio. I like to cancel the zeros. 1 0 on the top cancels with 1 0 on the bottom. It's the same as dividing by 10. Each time you cancel out a 0. And at the end of the day, we get 1 to 20 or 1 to 20. All right. When using a ratio with a perimeter problem, you can also do this with a supplementary angle problem. We want to look at the process is pretty easy. So if we look at this problem, the perimeter of the rectangle is 216 centimeters. The ratio of length to width, so if we draw a picture, the ratio of length to width is 3 to 2. It doesn't mean that the distance is like 2 inches and 3 inches. It just means that it's some number times 2 and some number times 3. When we put that together, it could be 2. It could be 2 and 3. It could be 6 and 4. So we don't know what how big or small those are going to be. So what we do is we put an X on the ratio number. So instead of 3, it's going to be 3x, and instead of 2, it's going to be 2x. So we are talking perimeter here. So remember, the perimeter is adding up all the sides. So we're going to go 2x plus 3x plus another 2x plus another 3x is all going to equal 216. So let's go ahead and write that down over here. 2x and 3x and 2x and 3x. When I add them all together, they should equal 216. So I'm going to add my x's together. That gives me 10x equals 216. Then we're going to divide by 10. So x is equal to 21.6 centimeters. Does that answer the question? The answer is no, it doesn't answer the question. It just gives us x. We need to multiply it by 2 to give us the width, and we need to multiply it by 3 to give us the length. So let's go over here, and the width is going to be 2 times 21.6, and the length is going to be 3 times 21.6. We do the math on that, and we get that the width is 43.2 centimeters, and we get the length is 64.8 centimeters. So this is the final answer. Okay, so we're going to look at how this changes when we change the shape, and the process is still the same. So the lengths of the sides of a triangle are a ratio 3 to 4 to 5. So I'm just going to put that on here. 3 to 4 to 5. And then I'm also going to include my x's because I don't know if it's actually 3, 4, and 5 and x is equal to 1, or if it's 2, or what our x is going to be. But I do know that the perimeter is 98. So we're just going to add these 3 together, and it's going to equal 98. So 3x plus 4x plus 5x is going to equal 98. We go ahead and do the math on that. That gives us 12x is equal to 98. And then x is equal to 8.2. 8.2. Does that answer what the question is asking? No, it does not. What is the length of the longest side? Well, the longest side is going to be the side that multiplies our x by 5. So we're going to take 5 and multiply it by 8.2. And since we rounded here, we have to, let's do approximates. So it's approximately equal to 41 inches. All right, we're going to look at the idea of proportion. So a proportion is an equation of two ratios, like A over B equals C over D. Take a moment, pause the video and write that down. This is not a new topic to students at the geometry phase, but it's a good reminder. With a proportion, there are 4 properties that we're going to look at and utilize. The first one is the cross products property. The cross products of a proportion are equal to each other. Not get this to go the other way. So if, what that means is if A over B equals C over D, then I'm going to multiply across the equal sign diagonally. That is the same as saying A times D equals B times C. And then the reciprocal property says that if I have A over B equal to C over D, and I flip both of these fractions, so I'm flipping the A and the B, and I'm flipping the C and the D, then I get an equivalent statement. B over A equals B over C. So it stays equivalent. Property number 3 says that if I do have my A over B equals C over D, then A over C equals B over D. You can switch the B and C. So I can switch these guys and get an equivalent statement. And lastly but not leastly, property number 4 from this page, if we have A over B equals C over D, then I can add the denominator to the numerator and get an equivalent statement. So A plus B over B is equal to C plus D over D. All right, so we're going to use these properties and to solve a few example problems. So the way we want to look at, if we look at A, we're going to multiply diagonally 4 times 7 and set it equal to 5 times x. We know 4 times 7 is 28, and 5 times x is 5x. We're going to divide both sides by 5, and x is equal to 5.6. The same is true. It doesn't matter what is in our denominator. If you have more than one term in your denominator, you are going to want to put parentheses around it. So we multiply 2 times y plus 2 equals 3 times y. Then you go ahead and you solve the equation like we learned last year in Algebra 1. Okay, so I want you guys to take a moment and try C and D on your own. Go ahead and pause the video. Unpause when you have your answer. All right, so check your answer. Did you get x equals 3/4 for C? And x equals 9.3 for D? Pause the video if you need to write down the work that goes with it. For our remaining examples, we're just going to test to see if these are true or false for example 5. So we have P over 6 equals R over 10. We want to see, is this true? Is P over R equal to 3/5? So what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and cross multiply. 10 times P equals 6 times R. I want to get P over R. So the first thing I'm going to do is divide both sides by 10. That'll get P by itself in the numerator. So I get P equals 6/10. When I reduce that down is 3/5. Then I'm going to divide both sides by R because I want to get P over R. So then I get P over R equals, the R's cancel, 3/5. that is the same as my original statement, so we can say that it is true. When we look at B, this is the adding property that we looked at in number 4. And if we have A over 3 equals C over 4, then we can add the denominator and get an equivalent statement. But it has to be the same denominator on the, has to be the same number here as you're adding to this side. If we look at our statement here, we have a plus 3. So we can see that this is false. Finish it out. All right, so let's finish up this. And if I have A over 12 equals C over 3, then what does A over C equal? So we're going to use a property where we can switch the B and the C. So we're going to switch these two guys here. So it's going to be A over C equals 12 over 3. So this is equal to 12 over 3, but because I'm a math teacher, I have to reduce this or my brain will explode. This is 3 over 1. Sorry, it's 4 over 1. Right there first. What did I get for a second? So it's 4 over 1. All right, last one. Let's tackle this. If 13 over q is equal to 10 over 2, then 13 plus q over q is equal to, this is the adding property, so it's equal to 10 plus 2 over 2.